Hi everyone, my name is Hillary Cobb, and today I'm going to talk about Padlet, which is a great interactive tool that I wanted to learn more about and will definitely be integrating into my course in the future. So Padlet is an interactive learning tool. Basically, it's a visual notice board, so to speak, that allows students to create post-it notes. Probably several of you have used it before. I've used it as a student in trainings, but I actually haven't used it as an instructor. So I wanted to look at it and learn about it and talk about, kind of examine the research and how it can help me as an instructor. So there's a lot of benefits for it. It's very visually engaging. It's kind of nice to have all of the student responses kind of just right there. I use Blackboard for my community college courses I teach online, and it can be very cumbersome to kind of dig through the threads and have to put your response on each thread. So I like that everything is just visually there. It's easy to reply to peers and it has kind of that instant collaboration. As peers are typing and posting, it's just updating in real time, which is great. It can be used in Blackboard and Canvas. Not all great teaching tools can be integrated well in a Blackboard, and so it's really nice that this is an option. And then a couple of other benefits are really it's very versatile. So I found a great article by Edwards talking about all the different ways that you can use it. You can have just a topic and brainstorm, and students just throw in their ideas. You can use it to collate research because you can add not just post-it notes with writing, but you can add files, links, documents. It's a good way to debrief. So one idea was as like an exit ticket for a class that if you're teaching, I might do this in one of my in-person classes. But at the end of a unit or a module or even in an in-person class, you can say, hey, everybody pull out their phones or your computer. You're going to enter, what did you learn today? And it's just all populated in the same place, which is nice. Finally, it can be personalized. You have a lot of control over the structure and the layout. So how do you want to organize the post-it notes? Are they random? Are they in a grid format? So you have a lot of freedom. You also can do things like moderate. I haven't really had a need for that at the college level, but I could see working maybe with younger children how the ability to moderate and kind of review comments before they get posted is a good feature as well. So there are a couple different theories that we can look at Padlet and why it's so important through. One is the how people learn framework, which I love this. I love a good pedagogical framework. And so there are kind of 4 components to this, and there's a graphic you can see on this side. But basically the idea is that you have learner-centered activities, knowledge-centered, assessment-centered, and community-centered. And that good online education is going to have activities that either address all of these or a variety of activities that kind of address each bubble, so to speak. And so I really think that Padlet hits a lot of these main parts. So for example, learner-centered activities are ones that allow students to use their existing knowledge and make connections to the real world. We talked about in Module 1 this idea that students bring their own kind of learning and understanding and experience. This is a great way to do this, especially in a social work course like I teach, where students often share their existing knowledge about the discussion board topics. It's knowledge-centered, so it's really helping kind of figure out what we want students to know, and they're sharing with each other, and it allows us to use a good discussion board prompt to kind of have them share the materials they got from the book. That dovetails into assessment centered, the idea that we're looking for assessments where students can obtain feedback and improve. Well, this is a great way to measure. Did they understand the concepts from the book? Were they able to integrate the materials into their own experiences? So it's a good way as an instructor typically for me to understand, are they getting what they need to out of the chapter? Are they able to create kind of a cohesive argument about this topic while relating their own experiences? So it's a good way to act as kind of an assessment tool, and their peers and myself can get feedback quickly, and that allows them to continue to improve. And then finally, community-centered, right? We know community is huge. And so an activity to be able to visually see all these different discussion board post responses and instructor responses, what a neat way to build that sense of community through a discussion board. Looking at it through a community of inquiry framework also has a lot of value. Looking through a cognitive presence lens, the video mentions it talks about exchanging info or connecting ideas and applying ideas. Well, Padlet allows students to do that. They're sharing information with each other, they're commenting on each other's posts, and they're connecting materials from the book with their own life experiences and the experiences of their peers. There's also a need for social presence, right? So allowing us to portray ourselves as real, having that kind of collaborative spirit, which discussion boards I think really do well with. But because the visual nature of Padlet, being able to see it all in one place, I think students can start to pick out themes a little bit easier and feel connected to their peers. And then finally, teaching presence, right? Because it's easy to comment on these, it means that the instructor can help with meaning making and focused discussions if necessary. So looking through these series, I think it's a good tool. So here's an example. You can customize the back. It's a free account. I just signed up. It was super quick and easy. I don't feel like the contrast is strong enough for good universal design principles, but I do like the pretty background color. So then I did some pseudo kind of posts. This is what it would look like. I would have a discussion board prompt, and then students would put their comments. You can change the colors of the stickies. It says you can like it, you can comment on it. So once students have posted that initial post, then their peers can comment on it. So this is a screenshot. I put it in a Blackboard for last semester's class just to have an example. Here's my prompt that I would have, and then right below it, you can embed it so it pops up and they can type directly into this while still looking at the discussion board prompt above, which I think is a neat feature. Finally, once they've posted, they can comment. You can see in little things, these would be what comments would look like for their peers. So they'd be able to respond to everyone's comments quickly and easily. So a couple of limitations are if students don't have an account, they appear as anonymous, which is a huge hassle because I get points based on discussion boards. So I'm trying to think of how I would integrate this in my fall classes. If I would say you have to put your name and give them a sample, um, I'd have to get creative on that. Also, there was a big research study by Denny and Zanal that found that students felt Padlet was unnatural and not instantaneous. It does take some time for it to upload. It can feel a little forced. It was easier to use on a computer, but not user-friendly on a phone. If we're going to be honest, many college students are using like Canvas and Blackboard on their phones, so Padlet may not be easy for those students. Finally, some of the complaints or frustrations with it were just things like accessibility, maybe challenges to read the little post-it notes, connectivity issues if they were having internet problems or didn't have a good laptop, and navigation issues. How do you get to the right post-it note? How do you make sure that you're linking things in a way that's easy to use and that you know who did what? But overall, I would say here are my references. It's a really good tool, and I'm thrilled and excited to look at it for the fall. Thank you so much.